What is up, everybody? Welcome to the Cheese Talk podcast. I'm your host, Brian, and today I'm joined with someone I had on, was it early last year when I was just starting
I
out.
want to say it was like your third podcast or something like that.
Yeah, Big Mac 920. Um, Obviously, he's a Packer fan. Uh, First off, breaking news today: the Packers hired, was it John Gannon for the defensive coordinator position? What are your thoughts on that?
Not a fan. The guy couldn't
Not,
motivate anybody. If you listen to his speeches, it's like monotone, no emotion. I don't know. I'm trying to remain optimistic, but I'm not a fan. He had
yeah,
one good year in Philadelphia, and then Arizona was a complete mess. So I
Yeah, I
really
know what video you're talking about because I saw that too, where like they're poking fun at him, like he couldn't even motivate. I forgot what they use as an example, but I guess I'm gonna be optimistic like you and trust that they made the right decision on who they got. It would have been nice to have Jim Leonard. I think a lot of people are saying Jim Leonard just for the simple fact that he's from Wisconsin. You know what I mean? It would have been like a fairy tale thing for have him as a coordinator, but I don't know. I don't know if Leonard would have been the answer. Who are you pulling for the Packers to try to get?
I liked Jim Leonard. You had McDermott from Buffalo you could have hired, although he might end up with a head coaching job. Raheem Morris, any of those three guys play. You see, like what Morris did with the Rams, he got those guys to play even after Aaron Donald before he got the Atlanta job. I mean, he's got a track record where he's proven successful as a coordinator. Gannon had 1 year in Philadelphia where they good. They went to the Super Bowl and then they were just garbage till they hired Fangio. And
Yeah,
then not McDermott's always got Buffalo playing good, and he runs a 4-3 cover three system like we've been running. Gannon is all soft zone like Joe Barry, and I'm not a fan.
yeah. Well,
Ath-
hopefully, I I don't know. It's hard because obviously, like a new maybe like a change of scenery will do him good. You know what I'm
Maybe,
saying? And
maybe
maybe,
he'll have Micah Parsons.
yeah, that's what I'm saying though. And it's you look back. I think of the Packers defense as a whole. Like when they had Micah, like a healthy Micah, and they had Devontae Wyatt. They were getting somewhat consistent pressure on the quarterback. You know what I
Yep.
mean? And they said it right from the first game against the Lions this last year. Like when they were giving Micah like a rep count, and they said like when he was not in the game, it was like 3.8 seconds before they got to the quarterback, versus when he was in the game was like 2.6 seconds. That second and a half is huge. You know what I
Oh
mean?
yeah.
If it showed too, we couldn't get a pass rush to save our life at all. After he went out, after White went out, I mean, it was just you give receivers five to 10 seconds to get open, and of course they're going to burn us. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like when they were getting to the quarterback, Nixon and Valentine were looking like all pro corners, and when we didn't have that rush, they're looking like they had no idea what they're doing out there.
Well,
So
it's definitely not like 2010 when we had three shutdown corners. Like it didn't matter what the pass rush got there in 5 seconds or not because they weren't throwing on us.
yeah, and like
I
you
think
mentioned in 2010 too. I mean, you look at that video from the end zone, looking where Nixon made a business decision not to go for that tackle. You
uh,
can't tell me Charles Woodson wouldn't have been there leading, trying to get that ball out. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah.
Right?
Uh,
but,
the lack
but
of effort on that defense over the last month of the season was alarming. Like Rashawn Gary just jogging, like just horrible. $96 million mistake.
rumor has it he's still jogging to this day. So, like, you break that down, and it was like I mean, he started off decent, opposite of Micah Parsons. But when Parsons went down, he disappeared.
Well,
You know
he
what I mean?
disappeared after the Pittsburgh game before Parsons even went down. He didn't have a sack the last 2 months. It was like
Yeah,
eight
so he's
games.
getting like almost $3 million per sack this year. That's an expensive defensive player, man. It's after seeing what happened this year with the defense, I wouldn't be too upset to see Nixon and Gary get their walking papers, get released.
I think, yeah, Nixon. I don't know. It's tough to say. They have no depth in that cornerback room. That's kind of scary. I
But
mean,
do you have the money to go out and get somebody? Or are you going to draft it?
uh, they're gonna have to draft it. They don't have any money. They're gonna have to release Gary Jenkins, and I forget who else was on Penn Engel's list, but just to get under the cap, they're like 30 million over.
Yeah, I still think there's a shot to where they're going to re-sign Trayvon Diggs to a new contract.
Oh, I mean, I would if he's cheap because the upside's there. The guy had 11 picks in one season, so. But
Yeah,
honestly,
and
I would have liked even Al Harris better than this guy we hired.
yeah, that was another guy that I was thinking of too, Al Harris. But it's like you got to think, you know, for all people that want to voice their opinion and stuff, obviously me included, is obviously they saw something in Gannon that obviously whatever. Like I guess we can't, and hopefully they make the right decision. You always say in Ted do we trust? Well, in Goody we got to trust too. We may
Oh,
not
this
like
was
it, but
Matt.
until we're proven wrong, I guess we gotta live with it, right?
Yeah, but
uh,
I feel like this hire could backfire, and this would be the end of the Matt LaFleur era in Green Bay after next season if it does.
but
Even
yeah, speaking of that, what are your thoughts on the extensions of the three with Lafleur, Gutekunst, and Russ Ball?
well, Goody and Ball are no brainers because they've done a pretty good job transitioning from Aaron Rodgers. They kept the team somewhat competitive, but Matt has been awful all last season. That offense sucked from week one. They couldn't get the line together. It takes 8 weeks to get the best combination of your offensive line. That doesn't happen anywhere else but Green Bay. Why do we
Right.
constantly play musical chairs on the offensive line? Like last year, it was rotating Morgan and Ryan at right guard, and they wouldn't stick to one guy. Morgan's development at tackle is off because he never plays tackle. Well, he settled into tackle. I mean, was he great? Not in my opinion. I don't think he's the answer. I think he's too light, and he's not like he gets thrown too easily. If you watched him, he gets thrown by a defensive tag or defensive end at least once or twice a game, and you can't lose your footing as a tackle. I think they mishandled the center position when they signed Banks and moved Jenkins over. That was stupid. They overpaid for Banks, but maybe health was an issue there because he had a bad back all year. I mean, it's going to be hard to block a 350-pound guy if your back hurts.
Yeah. Like the thing that gets me is the lack of fire in
A
certain
big,
situations. It was big like against Denver on the out of bounds play where Love's head got shot back to the ground and nobody came in for his defense. You
yep.
think back to the Bakhtiaris or the Mark Tauschers or just the old lines of like that Aaron Rodgers had or Brett Favre had. They'd be out there throwing fists for him. You know what I
Oh,
mean?
you speaking of Tauscher, you give me an offensive line like Mike Sherman had from 2000 to 2004, and I'll be the happiest guy in Wisconsin.
Yeah,
You could
you know.
those guys gave up the least amount of sacks, and they ran run block for an 1,800-yard rusher with 20 touchdowns. That was the best
Yeah,
offensive line I've seen.
it was a Mike Wall and
Mhm.
all those guys. They're just
Yeah,
amazing.
yeah. You had Clifton, Wall, Flanagan, Rivera, and Tauscher.
Yeah,
Best offensive line Green Bay's had in my lifetime.
yeah. It's just crazy to and this the musical chairs like you mentioned this year on the offensive line. Where in years past they've been able to draft and move people around up and down the line and have them fit right in. You think back to the COVID year with Aaron Rodgers, and they had you know they had to move people all around the line because of injuries and COVID, and it seemed to work. You know what I mean?
But
Uh,
this goes back. This offensive line issue goes back to when Bakhtiari got hurt when he first blew out his knee, and they put Billy Turner at left tackle.
yep.
That backfired so bad, and then the next season it was the same thing. Musical chairs, musical chairs. It's like it takes them 8 weeks to figure out who the five best guys are. You don't see that anywhere else but Green Bay.
Yeah, you would think that they'd have all their grading paperwork or grades or whatever, and would be able to plug in where they're best suited to fit.
Yeah.
But that's above our pay grade, so that's um, yeah, it's just crazy. What are your thoughts on some of the positional coaches still on the team? aka Rich Bisaccia.
I don't mind Bisaccia. I think the coverage units are great. He can't make the kicker make kicks. That's not on him. That's all on McManus. I mean, they can do they I feel like Green Bay doesn't practice special teams enough. Like that's almost what it feels like. Because it's like a dress rehearsal every time they go out there.
Yeah, it
The
is.
crapshoot. Like the NFL average for onside kicks was like 2%, but against Green Bay it's like 25 or something ridiculous like that.
Yeah,
It's just it blows my mind like how they're so bad at special teams. Like they can't like forever we had what was his name? Tyler Lancaster blocking on the edge on the field goal unit. The guy's a
yeah,
350-pound defensive tackle. He can't a defensive back run right by him.
yeah. And you
It's
think of some of
just
the losses that we had were, either I think of against the Browns, the block kick, against the Cowboys, the block kick, and then even against the Bears, the missed field goals.
on those field goals. Yep.
It just that's I don't get it. Obviously discipline is a huge thing with the line too, regardless if it's offense or the field goal unit. It's just mind boggling how much the penalties just kill any team.
Uh,
That
uh,
struggle with discipline. You know,
Uh, and
um,
I understand that comes with the youth, though we are the youngest team in the league. So, but at the same time, maybe you need to get more veterans in the locker room. That might
yeah,
fix that. I mean,
yeah.
how long can we be the youngest team in the league for? If you want to compete for championships, the teams that have a balance of veteran and youth are the teams that are steadily competing.
Well, absolutely, yeah. It's cool being the youngest team and all, but at the same time, you need to have, like you said, veteran leadership in there as well to lead this team for sure. Yeah, this season, I guess, was like a roller coaster of emotion. He started off with the off season and getting Micah Parsons, and then they worked him in slowly against Detroit, and we saw what he did against the Lions in the home opener, and we're like, oh my god, it's going to be crazy. It's going to be a crazy, really good year, and then second game against the Commanders, Jaden Reed went down with broken collarbone, and it's just like, oh my god, and then you're thinking, well, I can remember saying on my show that injuries suck, but the fact that he can broke his collarbone and then he can get his
But
what thing he had with his ankle repaired at the same time, maybe it's a
uh,
blessing in disguise. And then you got later on in the season you got Jordan Love getting the concussion, which still even those shots he's taken to the head against the Bears, I don't see why the Packers just didn't clear the bench. You know what I
well,
mean?
that guy from the Bears was a headhunter. He did it like 3 weeks in a row. If you watch, every time he hits
Yep.
somebody, he's aiming for the head.
Yeah, and that's
Like
not how he teaches
that.
you how to tackle.
The NFL needs a targeting rule like college football has, where if they see that, they kick the player out. Otherwise, it's just going to continue.
Yeah, that's what I
Uh,
mean. And
uh,
you got NFL teams investing, 55, $60 million a year for a quarterback that you have a quarterback or a guy out there just taking shots at his head,
uh,
That's NFL has got to be able to try to protect their product as well, you know,
uh,
especially yeah, that. And then you got Bears fans saying, well, he lowered his head, it's Love's fault. Well, what are you going to do if you know you're going to get a freaking cheap shot? You just going to sit there and lay with your head wide open? You're going to try to, that's the natural instinct is to hunker
duck your
down.
head. Yeah.
It had the guy, he had all ill intentions. You don't put your crown down and launch at somebody without ill intentions. You know what I
No.
mean?
Yeah.
Um, but
That's some
then,
Chuck Cecil stuff.
yeah, that's like, I guess maybe it's payback from back when, who was it that threw down McMahon?
Oh, I forget. I was real young at that time, like 4 years old, I think.
But yeah,
I
you
remember
got,
seeing the highlights of that. I don't remember what defensive lineman it was, but he slammed McMahon on the cold, frozen tundra.
yeah, but yeah, I don't know. Like I said, this season we saw glimpses of what we can be if we're all healthy and all in the same thing. I've said several times, people go back and forth. Should LaFleur be the offensive play caller? And it's like, we all love him when he's in his bag and doing really good. But when it comes to like a slow creep, we all get upset. So he's just got to find a way to just, maybe plan for a whole game of, being in your bag versus half a game. Um,
Yeah.
but I think losing Tucker Kraft was huge too.
Oh yeah, he's
Really?
probably my favorite Packer right now at this point. I love Tucker Craft. He reminds me of Gronk.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, he's a game changer. You know
Yep.
what I
You
mean?
can't cover him.
He wants to catch, run, and knock people over.
Yep.
You know?
Been a long time since we had a tight end like that.
Yeah. I mean, I think of probably the best tight. One of my favorite tight ends for the Packers is Jermichael Finley. You know, if you if
I'm gonna go back even farther and say Chimura and Keith Jackson.
yeah, but I mean, yeah, I mean, I guess I mean Finley, he had the size, he had the speed, he had the hands. It just sucks that injury took him out. You know what I'm
It,
saying?
he
But
was never the same.
no,
Like, didn't he hurt his knee or something too? And then before the neck injury, and then he came back from that knee injury. And it was, I don't know if they just weren't using him right because McCarthy was always trying to be cute with plays. It seemed like tight end screens or something like that.
yeah,
You never seen, but then again, Aaron Rodgers had an aversion to throw into the middle of the field too. He didn't really care for that.
yeah, and that's where Finley was hit against the Browns, right? Was it like Denzel Ward hit him? I think.
I think so. Hurt his
Yeah,
neck.
yeah. As far as our defense and losing Jeff Halfley, how much do you think that'll hurt the Packers?
I don't know. They need to keep Covington on the defensive line, coach, because he did an amazing job with basically scrap heap at defensive tackle. After he lost Kenny Clark, he basically had Devontae Wyatt and a bunch of what fourth, fifth, sixth round draft picks, undrafted
Yeah,
guys, and they were respectable in run defense all year. So I mean, that says a long way to the defensive line coach. And I was complaining for years because how much investment did Green Bay invest in that defensive line since 2010? It was
a
like
lot
we're either drafting an edge rusher or a cornerback every single year, but we keep the same position coaches. The guys obviously are failing at player development. Why are we hanging on to these guys? Like
because
Butkus,
they want to promote within and they don't want to pay people to come in.
it's chill. That report was pretty damning, if you ask me, where they said how cheap Green Bay is with coaches. I was like, ooh, that's not going to fly when people finally learn that. But that explains a
Yeah,
lot. I mean, you look at 2010, even after when Kevin Green left, that defense changed under Capers because they didn't have that rah rah guy. Because Kevin Green got that locker room pumped. We
yeah,
need somebody like that. Green Bay needs somebody like that on the coaching staff.
yeah. I've been searching the internet on Indeed.com trying to find that job that you can go and be the coffee getter for the offensive line coach. You know, I've yet to find it.
But like what does Stino do? I mean, the guy was a great offensive line coach. They made him offensive coordinator, and the offensive line has been a complete mess since he isn't involved in it every day. I mean, I would
Yeah,
almost make him up, go bring him back, name him assistant head coach, offensive line or offense, whatever. Give him a new title and bring in another offensive minded guy just to basically bounce stuff off. So Matt's not the only one making these decisions because I think another voice in that huddle might be a key because Steno's hasn't called plays. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Matt calls the plays. So whose
You talking
fault
about
is the
Cenovich?
offense? Yeah.
Yeah, I saw a report that he was going to interview for offensive coordinator. I forgot for what team,
Miami, and then they hired their pass game coordinator,
but
Bobby Slowick.
little inside humor. I think only one. I mean, if his so his daughter, he has one daughter she's 6'2", and she's a freshman at Green Bay Notre Dame, and she's like
Okay.
really good at basketball. So if yeah, they'd be hurting the unit if he got a job with a different team. But no, it sucks because it's like, what does he even do? You know what I mean?
Yep.
It's I just don't get you have LaFleur who calls the plays, but then you have offensive coordinators like for what?
Yep.
You know, I
But
don't know.
what gets me is back in the day, you had one offensive coordinator. Now you have an offensive coordinator, a run game coordinator, a pass game coordinator. I mean, is there too many people? And then you got
Yeah,
like defensive pass game coordinator, defensive rush game coordinator. Like that's a lot of coaching positions.
Yeah, it's like the NBA. You used to have like the coach, you used to have like an assistant coach, and maybe like a strength and conditioning coach on the sideline. Now there's like three rows of like eight
Coaches.
coaches, eight coaches per row. It's like, who are all these people? You have like one guy who's sitting there waiting to do like, you get the, oh, do the replay. He's sitting on his little tablet. Oh, yeah, challenge it, challenge it. Like, oh my God, there's so many people, you know.
Yeah,
But
but
going back to what you said about the targeting, I think they ought to have harsher penalties against people that deliberately launch themselves at at players. And I think it's going to get to the point to where they've got to be like um, college football or whatever, where like New York phones in to the game and be like, hey, look, this is what we saw, and just maybe the refs might have missed it. With the 15 refs that are out there, how could you possibly miss it? But whatever, get the player out of there.
but do you
Yeah,
remember back when we had Robert Ferguson and we were playing the Jaguars and that safety basically took his head off and they kicked him out of the game?
yeah.
Well, they don't. Why don't they do that anymore?
What I think would be awesome is to see like workplace violence and just have like the sheriffs just cuff them and take them out of the stadium. That'd be awesome. You know how many more viewers you would get? But no, and I mean going back to like even that, I've said you know since his Alabama days, Brian Branch, I think is a deliberate headhunter out there, and I think he's coached that way in Detroit. I could be
Oh, I
wrong,
believe
but
it.
you
Oh,
know,
That goes back. Aaron Glenn goes back to New Orleans. The whole targeting thing
yeah.
wouldn't surprise me one bit.
But yeah, it's just crazy when you start connecting all these things. And like I said, I think the NFL needs to. It's I think in their best interest. You think of the investment, and you think of just there's a lot that goes on with the NFL. And I think maybe having extra eyes, maybe stop the game and have them penalize people that for stuff that gets missed. I think the guy that went for Tucker Kraft's knee against Carolina, I think that was deliberate.
Oh yeah,
You,
because they
you
can't
know,
tackle them. They're going.
yeah.
Yeah,
So I mean, whatever.
that is a rule though. You're not supposed to go at a player's knees. Because
Yeah.
if a defensive back tries to take an offensive lineman on low, they flag him every time. So why is a tackler allowed to do it?
Well, you look back to that game with the Lions where Jacobs was nursing a knee injury, and you got Branch legit like launching, and not even putting his arms out. He's just it's like a missile going after Jacobs' knee, and they're like, oh, that's he something about. People are making excuses for him as to why he was tackling that way. And it's like that's deliberate. You launched, you left your feet, you left with your crown. There's nothing good was intended for that tackle.
Yeah, well, tackling in general in the NFL has gotten completely awful since they limited the padded practices, if you ask me.
Yeah,
Everybody just goes for the big hit. There's no wrapping up and doing great tackles.
yeah,
You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah. Branch is a bum, and I'll say it. I think he's coached that way, and they encourage it. It's whatever. What was your initial reaction to the Micah Parsons trade? Sorry, we're kind of bouncing all over the place here, but
I was ecstatic. I couldn't believe
yeah,
they pulled it off. I was completely on board when they were going after Khalil Mack a few years back, and they offered 2 first-round picks, but the Raiders took the Bears picks because they thought they would be better picks, which was essentially a smart move because the Bears always finish at the bottom. But I was ecstatic. It was about time that we got a difference maker on the defensive line, and you could see it from the get go. Like he's just built different.
yeah,
Like they try to triple team him, and he gets through 3 people, and Rashawn Gary can't even beat a wide receiver.
yeah. Yeah, I don't. I mean, and that brings up another good point: is like what's a hold on offense? Like,
What I was
what?
taught in school, you keep your hands inside, and if they get outside, it's automatically holding. But I don't know anymore.
Yeah,
I seen Micah Parsons get throat punched, clothes
yeah.
basically guillotined, and
The
they
the
don't do
infamous
nothing.
the infamous photo. I forgot what team it was against, but there's like it's like from behind the referee, and he's looking straight ahead, and you see like the guy's like elbow making or arm making a V on Parsons' neck, and there's no flag or anything.
That's
Whatever.
horrible.
But then
Right.
I think they got called out for it by Parsons, and then it was called even less.
Yeah.
Whatever.
The difference between like Miles Garrett gets a holding penalty like once every like 20 snaps or something ridiculous like that. And he's probably held every play too. But Micah Parsons is like once every 300 and some. It's ridiculous. He
Yeah,
went like
it's
300 and some snaps without a holding penalty or something ridiculous like that.
yeah.
That's
I think he's
insane.
gonna. I think Parsons is gonna come back and have a career year for himself this next year.
I
You
hope
know,
so. I
I
wish
mean,
Halfley was still here, but
yeah, you have him. He had what 12 and a half sacks. He missed the last four games,
yeah,
and
four and a
you
half
know,
maybe. Yeah, he went out
yeah,
halfway through the Denver game.
and he's still in contention for defensive player of the year, missing 5 games or whatever, or 4 games.
Yeah, they named him a finalist, but that's Miles Garrett's award.
Yeah,
23 sacks. Come on. That's
yeah.
impressive.
NFL holding and pass interference are extremely random. Just when the NFL wants a certain team to win, that's true. Now that Tom Brady's out of the
Uh,
league, who knows?
Well, look at
But no,
last week, that controversial catch and interception in Denver or whatever.
yeah.
If you watch the slow-mo replay, he's on the ground with possession, and then the defender jumps on top of him and rips the ball away.
But later on
So,
that day or the next day, Devontae Adams against the Bears had the same exact thing, and they called it a catch.
yeah.
Was
And
that
then,
was that in
well,
overtime? Or
Evan Williams did the same thing against the Bears for the Packers, and they ruled it an incomplete.
yeah.
So
So
what
I
is it?
mean, yeah. What is it? They gotta maybe work on their officiating and being have a clear vision of what a rule is and what's a catch, what's not a catch, what's an
I mean,
interception.
ever since that Calvin Johnson catch in Detroit where he caught the ball and then he put it down and spun it, and then they ruled
Yeah,
it an incomplete, we still don't know what a catch is.
yeah. It just
And like,
it, yeah, whatever. Um, Looking back on the season, what are your thoughts from beginning to the end? Like, I know I kind of said like we're all kind of pumped with the Micah Parsons, and it's kind of like then Reed got hurt the second week, and then Kraft went down, and like what you think back to the season? Like, what do you think of like from like the beginning to the middle to the end?
I think if healthy, this offense is going to be top three in the league if they have all their pieces between Christian Watson, Tucker Kraft, and a steady running game with Jacobs. But you have to address the offensive line. Number
Yeah,
one, you can't have Swiss cheese up front.
yeah,
The defense, I think you need another defensive tackle. Um, you're going to need somebody on the other side of Micah Parsons, although Thorell and that other rookie we just got that didn't come in till the end of the year. I forget what his name is at Oklahoma State. They both looked pretty good against Minnesota,
was it
like at the end of the year. The one
Oliver?
they're calling Baby Michael. Yeah.
Colin Oliver?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just it too. I mean, you need the money that you already have invested in the defense. You need people to come in, obviously making less money to make a bigger impact. Because
You need
not
to
like you
hit on
have
your.
blank checks to go out and get all these high price because you kind of
Uh,
put all your eggs in one basket when you got Micah Parsons. But at the same time, you got Micah Parsons who is getting triple, quadruple teamed, freeing up 2 to 3 people. And where the hell are these 2 to 3 people that are freed up not getting blocked?
well, yeah,
You know?
Rashawn Gary couldn't get off a wide receiver's block at the end of the season. That was just
Yeah.
quite pathetic. You're
You know what I mean?
275 pounds and a 180-pound wide receiver is holding you.
Yeah. Freaking just throw them to the ground. You know what I mean? But I I've seen I've seen glimpses of in Luke Van Ness that I think he can be good, but it's want to know what his fourth year, fifth year, and he should have shown something by now.
Well,
You
this
know?
year he was battling that foot injury, but he
Yeah.
came on and he was really good. So,
Yeah. I think you get him opposite of Micah Parsons, I think he's gonna do some damage. You get Devontae Wyatt back, get him healthy, and you have the middle pressure and the edge pressure from Watt and Parsons, and then I think it's going to open up the opposite side. And they got to get more exotic blitzes and find ways to get to that goddamn quarterback. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think they need we need to get a little bit more out of our inside backers too, because they Edgerrin Cooper, they hyped him up all year and he made a lot of plays and made a lot of tackles. But where was the flash that he showed as a rookie? You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
as a rookie, he was popping people at the end of the year, making interceptions, and then this year I thought he struggled in coverage. Quay Walker, I'm not even sure what to make of this guy. Like he's up and down. He's like a roller coaster just himself. And I don't know if it's just the scheme, uh, but I think we need another linebacker, another defensive tackle, and definitely cornerbacks on defense.
yeah. Do you
Safeties are
think
great.
Quay? Do you think they re-sign Quay?
I think he's priced himself out of Green Bay. I don't think we can afford him.
Yeah,
It's
but
going to be real hard to keep anybody.
McDuffie's a solid player. I think he's always
Yeah,
around the
he's
ball.
core special teamer. He's got a nose for the football, but he's another one of those guys where he's suspect in pass coverage, and that's Green Bay gets killed in the middle of the field.
Yeah, there's always somebody wide open.
Oh,
But yeah, I don't know. I just hope this year. It sucks not having the first round pick, but we've never really gotten you know a lot of success out of our first round picks in the past. So I you got to have faith in the later rounds. And speaking of first round picks, I was talking with a guy I coach basketball with, and it's like I go, why? I mean, why did we wait so long to show what we got at Matthew Golden? That catch against the Bears and the run for the touchdown. I mean, that was. I mean, if why
I
why
said the
why would
whole year,
why would you hide that?
Jaden Reed got hurt. Why are they not letting Golden fill that role? Similar
Yeah,
style player, short, smaller, quicker guy. He would have been perfect in it, but nope.
yeah,
He was like on a pitch cone all year. I didn't understand it.
yeah. And I hopefully, well, now that we've seen what he's capable of, I think we see a lot more of him this next year, especially with pretty good chance at Dobbs that he's gone too.
Yeah, he's gonna
I
get
think it's gonna
15
go.
million a year.
I think it's gonna be like Watson, Reed, and Golden are gonna be our top three.
Uh,
Then Savion
I
and
w-
Williams.
I really wish Wicks could stay healthy because that guy's flashed every
Yeah,
chance he gets when he's healthy, but then he's always hurt. Like it's like he has a good game and then he's gone for three.
yeah. I just don't get like we could move the ball so good against the Bears defense, right? And that one play where we had Watson go across the middle, threw it to him, and no one could catch him. What happened to that play? Like, what happened to something similar to that? You know what I mean? Like, we just all the stuff that worked against the Bears, we were up 21-3, and we just shit the bed. And it's like we can't have those kind of games where we're not going to be successful. You
Well, if
know?
you look at the history of the Packers, and you could probably go back to Holmgren for this, if they get a two-score lead, they get super conservative
Yeah,
every single time.
yeah,
Bugs the hell out of me. You look at the Patriots when they had Tom Brady and he threw 51 touchdowns or whatever to set the record. They didn't care. You don't want
yeah,
us to score touchdowns? Bill Belichick said, stop us.
yeah.
Our offense is out there to score points. We're not out there to milk the clock.
Yeah, it's like youth basketball. We had a game last weekend, and there's a team that we're playing. They're up by like I don't know, maybe 18, 19 points against us, and they're still freaking pressing us. It's like, come on, guys. It's like sixth grade basketball. Let's go. You're
Yeah.
up by 20 points. Why are you pressing us? You guys got the lead, obviously, and there's a small chance we can come back. Just back the hell up, but whatever. Yeah, I guess. But yeah, I mean, when you have guys out there making the millions of dollars that they make, and you're not like out there showing like what you're paying them for when they're just being that conservative. You know what I'm trying to say? It's like you have a $55 million quarterback. Why aren't you just trying to like break every single possible passing record with him? You know, and even like
Uh,
Jordan Love, there's a couple times against the Bears where like it was like 3rd and 8, maybe whatever. He drops back and there's a whole wide open field in front of him, and he's scooted to the side and incomplete pass. Like you could have ran for that first down, man. You know what I mean?
well, there was a report by that Mina Kimez or whatever, if I pronounced her name right. I don't know if you know
Sure.
who I'm talking about. She's on ESPN. But she said early in the year it was like Matt LaFleur was coaching for third down because it would be run on first down, short pass on second down to get in third and short. But Green Bay sucks third and short. Third and fourth and one, we're horrible. Third and eight, best in the league. Make that make sense.
Yeah, 4th and 1, fourth and one, go in the shotgun formation and hand the ball off. Why?
Yeah, yeah,
Why?
I said we need a fullback. We
Yeah,
need a John Kuhn, William Henderson on that team so
yeah.
that they stop running out of shotgun.
What was it? I forgot what game it was. Was it against the Cowboys where they had trips left and the running back goes out of the backfield towards the trips formation? I'm like, oh my god, here we go. And it got blown up in the backfield. It's like, come on. It's like at times it feels like you're, I'm playing Xbox with my kids and I have it on all Madden mode. And be like, here you go. You can take over and play defense, or you can play offense. It just like I don't understand like what's going on. Like it's frustrating because like when we can like predict what's gonna happen most of the time, it's something's got to change. You got to be that unpredictable offense and unpredictable defense to catch teams off guard. Because if you got layperson watching the game that we're sitting there calling each play as it happens, something's got to change.
I don't think they're aggressive enough on both sides of the ball. I think they have a super conservative approach. And I think that honestly, that's like a reflection of the top of the organizational structure all the way down. Like
Yeah,
it's almost like they're happy just to be in the conversation. Like
yeah.
as long as we're there every year in the playoffs, hey, that's good enough
Well,
for us.
thank God for that 7th seed. You know.
Yeah, exactly.
Um. Yeah, and I don't understand. Okay, so why I would have utilized, even though Love was healthy, I would have utilized Malik Willis more. Why not come in and do like a wildcat formation? I mean, you had Jaden Reed that used to play quarterback. You could get Golden in the backfield. You could have Willis back there. Teams can plan like last 2 years ago against the Colts when Malik Willis had to come in and play. They knew he wasn't that good of a passer. They knew damn well we were going to run the ball, and they could not stop us. you
Yep,
know? And they had like 162 yards like in the first half or first quarter rushing. I
yep.
mean, what happened to those days? Why not throw in a wrinkle every once in a while to like,
Well, they
do
could.
like the fake run like the Tim Tebow and pop it over the middle or I just you know, stuff like that is fun to watch. You know what I mean?
Oh, New England just tied up Denver.
Yeah.
Yep. Uh,
Do you I just don't I just think that they gotta be dig deeper into the bag and be more unpredictable on offense. Because I mean, like one of the best games I've seen LaFleur call was that Dallas game. But even then, had we not had that big of a lead, that not the Dallas playoff game, not this last year,
oh
but
yeah.
we were up by like 4 or 5 scores. And next thing you
Yep.
know, it's like they're resting the starters, and all of a sudden Dallas is coming back. And you had to put the starters back in the game. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? But yeah, I don't know. You got to give. I think I don't. I think they have love on a leash, and like they're like not letting him do certain things. You know what I mean? They're kind of holding him
I,
back a little bit.
yeah. When they let him cook, he cooks. But
Yeah,
yeah, you're right. It's like he's handcuffed.
yeah.
Like
And
he
like
could, like
Aaron
he's not. I
Rodgers
feel
didn't
like
give a
he's
shit.
not allowed to change the play at the line like Rodgers was. Like they
Yeah,
don't trust him.
yeah. But I
Speaking of
mean,
Rodgers, what do you think of Mike McCarthy in Pittsburgh?
I think it's awesome.
So do I, and I
I
hope
think it's
Aaron gets
awesome.
it one last ride together.
It's like I don't know. I like to. I always like to like on my social media pages. I like to have fun or whatever, and it's like just have fun, right? You only live once. Why not have people laugh? I had
Yep.
that Cartman, with the Pittsburgh Steelers gear on, and I had breaking news: Steelers signed, former Packers and Cowboys coach Mike McCarthy, and people are like all coming after me. It's like, come on, man, have some fun, you know.
Yep.
It's but no, I
And,
think it's
well,
good. I like Mike McCarthy. He recently moved back to Green Bay. He didn't move back. He still had his house. He's back living in Green Bay.
yeah.
But good for
Well,
him.
his
That's where
wife's
he's
from,
from.
isn't his wife from Pulaski or the Pulaski area or something like that too? I believe I read sometime somewhere at one
Yeah,
point.
remember back when he was yelling at the refs during the basketball game?
Yeah.
Yeah, for his stepkids or whatever. He
Yep. I remember
actually
that.
his daughter was when my trying to date myself here when my 14-year-old was getting her first communion. We were sitting in line and sitting there looking and at St. Mary's Church in the pier, and all of a sudden I look and look, like, oh my God, it's freaking Mike McCarthy. His daughter was in front of us getting her picture taken with the priest and everything. And he's a big dude, man. He's like 6'4", 6'5". He's tall.
Oh
McCarthy,
wow.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I never met Mike.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I'm happy for him. He did good for the Packers. You know what I mean? It's just,
Oh yeah.
you
Well,
know, some
he got kind of at the end of his tenure in Green Bay. That was kind of messy because Ted Thompson just I don't know what happened, but he quit.
uh,
His last four drafts were just complete awfulness outside of Kenny Clark.
yeah. Bring
I
back the
mean,
fullback. I bring back the fullback. Hell yeah, I bring back the fullback. Why not? You know, and maybe not even a fullback, but not like a true fullback, but get a big hog in the backfield blocking for you every once in a while. You know, get like a I don't know Nazir
well,
Stackhouse or
that
someone
was
back
a
there to
staple of the West Coast offense. So as the fullback, and you'd send the fullback in the flat. Tom Rathman, William Henderson, they made their living on that.
yeah
Even Kuhn.
yeah
And it's like, what happened? They want to spread them out and run two tight ends, but give me one tight end and a fullback and run right up the middle. William Henderson would erase the middle linebacker, and Namon Green would go for 30.
yeah. You know what I don't get either is on the 4th and 1 things, 4th and 1 plays. Why wouldn't you do like the Packers have done when Tucker Kraft was healthy? Have him go in motion, go under center, and hike the ball and go forward. If we don't
Yeah.
want Jordan Love doing the QB sneak, fine. Like do like Aaron Rodgers, he sits back with his hands on his hips, looking around, and they run it, 15 yards in front of him. He's sitting there watching the play happen. Why not do that? I just don't get it. And I'll never get the 4th and 1 shotgun formation. You got to go a yard or less, and you're giving yourself 5 yards off the ball to advance 6 yards or 7 yards. It's just maybe there's a reason you can see stuff opens up or whatever, but it just to me doesn't make any sense.
I don't know. I'm not a fan of this whole zone blocking scheme to begin with. Feel
Yeah,
like it made us soft because it's more of a finesse running game. I want to punch you in the mouth and make you eat your words with the run game. I don't want this finesse crap where it's, oh, we're going to spread them out and stretch them out, and the guy's going to make one cut and go for 10, 15 yards. But at this, yeah, that works all great and it's nice. But when you need short yardage plays, these zone run schemes suck.
yeah. I mean, I
You
don't
need,
understand why you wouldn't put somebody that's under center and just have maybe like an I formation, but the fullback is maybe like a lineman, and you snap the ball. Maybe not be the Jordan Love, but maybe you have like Tucker Kraft or Musgrave under center. Just have the lineman just come up and just push him from behind.
I don't know about Musgrave, though. He can't
Well,
stay on his
you know what
feet.
I mean though, like somebody
Yeah.
that's not the quarterback, you know.
Oh,
But
I got a funny story about Musgrave. So I met him at the draft and we got his autograph. And my daughter's like, that's not Tucker Kraft.
hey, you're raising the kid right.
He just said, I give Luke credit, man, because he laughed it off. It was funny.
Yeah. What
Because she,
Go ahead.
because she heard me say, well, that's Musgrave. Too bad it's not Tucker Kraft. And then she repeated it when we got up there. I was dying.
Oh. Well, what? So you went to the draft, obviously. What were your thoughts on how Green Bay did in hosting the draft?
Oh, I love it. I'm actually considering going to Pittsburgh this year.
Yeah,
I loved the whole experience. It was a great
yeah,
time. I went all 3 days.
yeah. I went. I didn't go the first night, but I went the second and third day. The second day, I met up with a couple content creators, um, uh, like Aaron Davis and Iowa Joe Pearson,
Okay.
and met up with them there. And I actually ended up meeting up with Mr. First Down, the Titans fan, there. I knew he was coming to Green Bay for the draft, and it was so hard to like text back and forth and whatever. And I got to the draft, and after my whole debacle at the security, because I have uh, a spinal cord stimulator implant in my
Okay.
back, and I have like the battery like in
Okay.
my back lower flank. So I went through the detectors, and they pulled me aside. I'm like, I have a little card that says I have a medical device in my body,
Okay. Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
They had to have the sheriff come over and pat me down and this and that. Meanwhile, the lady next to me has like 8 Red Bulls. She's getting confiscated, and a bunch of like beef jerky and stuff she's trying to bring in, but whatever. But no, it was fun. It's just like all the fans you meet from all the different fan bases, even Bears fans are pretty cool to talk
Yeah,
with and everything there. And I just
the
thought the whole
70-year-old Dallas Cowboys cheerleader was kind of funny though. Did you
yeah.
see her?
No, I did. But I just thought it was cool. Like the third day when it kind of slowed down, I brought my two boys and got a picture with them. It was just something that I wasn't going to go initially. And it's like, it's probably never going to happen in Green Bay again. And I'm going to
Yeah,
regret not going. With it being 10 minutes from my house, I'd be dumb not to go. So I had my
yeah, it
wife drop me
was.
off on one of the side streets and I walked, whatever, and got there and stuff. But yeah, it was a good time. We were
Yeah, I
there when
enjoyed it.
Seth Rollins came out, and we were there when Barry Sorrell got drafted. I remember exactly where I was when the Browns selected Shador Sanders.
Mhm. I can't
But
believe he fell that far.
yeah, anyway,
Like,
it's just crazy that it had to be the Browns that drafted him.
I
You
know.
know, I mean, you couldn't. I think in the right system, he'd be a good quarterback.
I would like to see him with Mike McCarthy in Pittsburgh because
Yeah,
he played in that spread offense that McCarthy likes.
yep,
The West Coast spread system. That's what he thrived in under his dad. So, but I
yeah,
don't think there's no chance that Cleveland trades him to Pittsburgh.
yeah. Cleveland's a dumpster fire.
Oh,
But
that franchise.
yeah. What are your thoughts? Do you think the rivalry with the Bears has been renewed or like lit back up?
I don't know. I'm more inclined to believe that this is that one random Bears year where they're good every 7, 8 years. Then it's going to be a sustainable thing. I haven't seen Caleb Williams. He's made some great plays, but he doesn't make the routine plays. His
Yeah,
completion percentage is like 50%. You cannot continue to be successful in the NFL with that low of a completion percentage. And
yeah,
if he improves, yes, the rivalry will be renewed. But at the same time, Green Bay realistically kicked their ass for what 50 out of 60 minutes each game.
yeah,
So I mean, realistically, if Green Bay doesn't fold in the fourth quarter, we're not even having this conversation right now.
yeah. And a lot of that goes back on to what we talked about earlier about not getting a pass rush. Like the most consistent pass rush we had on the Bears, or the closest we came to like even coming close to like tackling him, was in the last game. In the
Yep.
playoffs, and even that was still, you know, kind of, you know, half-assed. And I
Well, you
think,
see Rashawn Gary just out for a leisurely jog.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I don't know. It's
uh,
you wanna think positive and move on, but it's stuff like that that just keeps you thinking about this last year. And I think that it would have been nice to beat Chicago, but had we won and went to Seattle, they would have. I think they would have dissected us left and right.
Seattle,
Seahawks.
I think
Yeah,
Green Bay matches up good with Seattle.
yeah,
I
uh,
do. I say, well, Green Bay is similar to the Rams, and the Rams hung 30 on Seattle twice. They got beat the second time, but Seattle, they're susceptible to that McVay style system.
yeah. I
I
don't
think
know.
Green
Maybe
Bay would
maybe it would have
agree.
been a closer game than that, but I just it's just like you felt like just by you got Rashawn Gary out there doing yoga out there in the middle of the field doing light jogs and doing elementary calisthenics out there, and it's just it just felt like the effort, the vibe wasn't there with a lot of the players, and you got Keyshawn Nixon getting freaking scorched, and he's saying this is one of his better years. It's like, what game are you watching, or what made you think that this is one of your best years?
Uh,
You look at like the quarterback completion percentage against like Valentine and Nixon is just through the roof. The yeah, I
well, Hobbs was a complete bust, $14 million a year, and he played what 2 games, and he could not play on the edge. On the outside. Like he was a slot corner in Vegas for a reason. We'd sign him to a big money deal and try to put him as an outside corner, and he just got roasted until he got hurt.
Yeah, and
So what do you do with that?
I was high on him in training camp because they had to like scale him back from hurting his own teammates out there.
Yep, I remember
I-
that.
Yeah, and I was just like, oh, I can't wait till he gets out there and does like enemy fire, and what did he even do, But True
But at
North,
the
wow,
same time, we played a lot of soft zone all year. When Halfley got hired, it was, oh, I love press man, but I didn't see that all frickin' year. You know
yeah,
what I mean? Like Green Bay has always been at their best when they play press man. It's when they get in that soft zone that offenses pick us apart. And it's been
yeah,
that way for as long as I can remember. They get a two-score lead and they play zone. Stick to what got you the two-score lead.
yeah, and yeah, you get the 2 to 3 score lead. Run the clock, run the ball, keep the clock going. I'm sitting here, like talking out loud in front of me and the kids are watching the game and the wife and everything is like, run the ball, keep the clock going, keep the clock going. Oh, let's do a running back out of the backfield to the trips formation to the left and have an incomplete pass or run them out of bounds. It's just
Or a wide receiver screen that gets blown up.
yeah. And you go back, even like people are giving Love a hard time. Well, Love against the Cowboys, he didn't give up 40 points. He put out
Nope.
he helped put 40 points on the board for the Packers. The defense
He
gave up
threw
the 40
four.
points.
He threw
You
four
know,
touchdowns against Chicago.
yeah, and even against the Browns, yeah, he had that one bad play, but he brought the team back down in the scoring position just to have that winning field goal blocked. You know? So he did his job as a quarterback. Granted, he had a couple bad plays, but I thought he redeemed himself against the Browns. He brought the team back down to win the game, and
Yeah,
the team failed him.
that's a he got the Aaron Rodgers experience.
Yeah, the offensive line needs complete rework. Absolutely. I think they
Yeah.
do. And whether it's yeah, it all starts with the line. You even go back to like this is not about the Packers, but even like the Wisconsin Badgers.
Oh,
For how
it's
long? How long have they been pound the rock, pound the rock?
do you know how disappointing it was to find out that the offensive line coach in Indiana was in Wisconsin before they hired Fickle?
Yeah, but and I mean, I was gonna say, don't get me started on college sports because the NIL just blew everything up. Teams are finally be able to be neck and neck with like the Alabamas and the Georgias and of the world. But then you look back to Indiana and you think of who's their major donor, you know, Mark Cuban,
Yeah.
but it's there's got to be better rules set in place for NIL and for college athletes as
Well,
far as
like
like
Deion Sanders said, they need a salary cap because you got these players basically play one season and then they jump to a different school and they keep jumping around for money.
yeah, and that's
Now
the thing
they
too.
want to stay 5, 6 years now because they're making the money in college. So there
And,
needs to be
but-
some sort of balance there.
so like two examples is you had that Nazir Ford Queen for Wisconsin that was fighting to get his 5th year of eligibility, which he had like a legit reason, I think it was injuries or whatever, to come back. But then you have guys that are, in college basketball that get drafted to the NBA, don't play at all, re-enroll in college, and they're allowed to play college basketball again. I mean, how
Yeah,
does that even make any sense?
yeah,
Then you have like Carson Beck's like on his 6th year of eligibility, but you have a guy fighting for his 5th year. You're telling him no, but you have Carson Beck that's allowed to come back. It's just you got to have a standard. Like Nick, and I think a guy that would be a good like rule imposer would be Nick Saban because last year on College Game Day, like they asked him what he thought about it, and I think he would be one that would be a really good enforcer for the NCAA to, make sure things are run smoothly. And then, like you said, they need to have a salary cap because you have some schools that can bring in, say, you got Oregon, Phil Knight, Nike. He has
yeah.
unlimited amount of money. You have Mark Cuban.
Texas.
You have Mark Cuban at Indiana, who
Yeah.
has all this money. I mean, Wisconsin has wealthy alumni, but you got to go out and raise money,
I
to
read
help.
somewhere that Wisconsin had the lowest NIL in the country.
Yeah, but I think that was last. I mean, maybe it was last year, but they're going to be they're saying they're going to be in the top third this year with NIL money, and they went out and got some pretty good kids. They got that Colton Joseph from Old Dominion. I think he's going to be good. He has an arm and he can run the ball. They got the problem with that is with college football is you got kids that they're a 4-star or 5-star recruit that come in. Maybe they don't see the playing time that they wanted to see as a true freshman.
Yeah,
They've been told their whole life that they're just so good, and
yeah.
like they had that Latimer that committed. He was like a 4 or 5-star running back, and last second before signing day, he decommitted and committed to West Virginia. And then he's at West Virginia, but then there's another good running back that was already had a couple years of college experience that committed to West Virginia. So Latimer could have been like a stud at Wisconsin. Instead, he went somewhere else where he might get buried on the depth chart now. You know what I mean? It's just
Eh,
you get these kids that they don't want to try to. I don't want to say Wisconsin's like a sinking ship, but they've had better years than last year. But
Well, I
it's a
think.
good.
I'll go ahead, finish.
As I say, it's a good program, but people don't want to stick around and try to work for what they get. You know what I mean? They don't want to. Oh, here, I'll offer you more money if you come here. I'm not going to be loyal. I'm just going to go chase the money and not learn any morals or any life lessons at college. I'm just going to jump ship every year and go to a different school that offers me more money. It's just blows my mind. You know?
I, I think Wisconsin screwed up though Fickle screwed up at Wisconsin when he came in and he tried changing the identity of Badger football and going to that air raid system. He should
Yeah.
have stuck with what they had. The guy can recruit, so recruit the players that fit Wisconsin football. Don't try to change it into something it's not. Wisconsin was
Right.
successful for 20 some years running the same system. The problem was Chris couldn't recruit at the end, and he could never get a quarterback. Like
Yeah.
Wisconsin was always a quarterback away. We had Russell Wilson, they were competing. They were a top 5 team, except they couldn't beat Ohio State.
Yeah.
So, I mean, but the problem was they couldn't recruit.
Yeah. I
Eh,
I don't know what whatever. Hold on, I'm trying to change something here. I'm sorry. Uh, yeah, no, Wisconsin. They've always been known as having the big hogs, on the line. They've been known to run the ball. I mean, gosh, you think back like Ron Dane, Monty Ball, Melvin Gordon, James White, Corey Clement. The list goes on and on and on. And then now you have like a revolving door at running back. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And it's you got to get back. And I think it's kind of cool now that I think Joe Thomas is trying to get involved with the recruiting too, which is one of the best to ever do it. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
So I think you got to try to get the alumni to come back and give them
You
money, give
definitely
them
need JJ Watt and Joe Thomas involved and TJ
yeah,
Watt.
get them to come back and maybe be part of the recruiting plan. You know what I mean? I mean, look at J.J. Watt. He could be like, oh, I went from a 2-star tight end at Central Michigan or wherever he was, and came back to be one of the best defensive players to ever play the game. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And just be like this. That could be you if you stick at this program and you work through the good and the bad and come out on top. It's and some of these players too, they're making better money in college than would be making in the NFL. So
Yeah.
I don't blame them, but at the same time, you can't if you sign a 2-year contract, you should be obliged to follow that contract until it's done. You can't just be like an Xavier Lucas and sign a contract and then breach it and go to Miami. The way he
Yeah.
did, but let me see here. A couple more questions and we'll wrap it up if you don't mind.
That's
Uh,
fine.
do you? I was going to ask you about Banks and Hobbs, but we kind of already covered that because they're a first year free agent bust pretty much. But do you believe Matthew Golden will stamp his name as a top 3 receiver on the depth chart?
Um, I think the potential's there, but I want to see the consistency. The problem I have is there's so many mouths to feed in Green Bay because before Tucker Craft got hurt and when Tucker Craft comes back, he's the security blanket for Jordan Love. Christian Watson's the guy that takes the lid off the defense. Jaden Reed works the middle, but Tucker Craft is always he was the man. and I hope
Yeah.
he continues to be because he's a ginormous mismatch. I think Golden will excel, but I don't know if he's gonna be like a stud number 1. I think he'll be a legitimate piece in the offense, but I wanna keep, kind of level-headed expectations with them because of how they use them. I don't know if I trust the coaching staff, to be honest with you.
Yeah. They, oh my gosh, like we have three speed receivers. How do we utilize them? I don't know. It's yeah, it's I I think he has potential. I liked what I saw in that last game. I mean, a couple of plays earlier in the season where I think that he caught the ball and went out of bounds. He could have kept on going straight. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
he's he's a rookie. Whatever. He learned from his mistakes. But no, as long as Christian Watson is a Green Bay Packer and he's healthy, I think I think he's the number one receiver for sure. He's shown that he can take the top off. People can't. I mean, he has the height. He has the hands. I think he's a legit. Now that Dobbs is gone, most likely gone, I think Watson's our number one for sure. Then I think it goes to Reed. I can't hear you. I can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yep. Yeah.
Sorry, my AirPod died.
That's okay.
Mic on.
But yeah, I think Golden's he's gonna show his worth next year. Like True North Packers fans said, he assumes that Dobbs is gone and Golden will get more touches. I think he will. For sure.
Yeah, I do too. I think he fills the role as the number 2. At the same time, I like Wicks. I really like Wicks because he reminds me of Devontae Adams.
Yeah.
And I think Wicks, if he could stay healthy, could be a legit stud receiver in Green Bay too. With Christian Watson, Wicks, Golden, and Reed, you have a pretty good stable of wide receivers right there. But at the same time, is Jaden Reed going to be around past next year? Because he's in a contract year now too. They can't afford to pay everybody.
Yeah. And Wicks was one of the main reason why we won against the Lions.
Yep.
Yeah, some of those good catches. So it'll be and that's good too. And have a receiving room with that much competition. It's only gonna make everybody better. You know.
Yep.
You mentioned that Wicks reminds you of Devontae Adams, and I thought I went back to when they drafted Romeo Dobbs and saw him play in his first preseason. I thought he reminded me of a mix of Nelson and Adams. Just with how he
I,
went for the ball and his elusive speed and stuff. So
I don't know. Dobbs almost kind of reminded me of James Jones because you would see him and he would make James Jones would always make the routine catch look hard and the hard catch look routine. You know what I mean?
yeah. Hey, did you
So,
see this question here? They're asking if you can kick 30-yard field goals. He's asking for a friend.
no, I can't. I need to use the old square toe boot from high school.
Yeah. Yeah, right. Here we are talking about McManus and how good he was for us last year, and then he lets us down this year. Like, oh,
I,
we have no training camp drama between kickers. We got a kicker figured out finally after Anders Carlson and this guy and that guy and this guy. And then you have McManus. He's healthy. Then he's hurt. But then you have this substitute teacher come in and do a really good job. And then you bring back McManus and he misses like 2 field goals. Then you bring back the teacher. He misses field goals. And you bring back McManus. It's like, wow, here we go. I jinxed it by talking about it. But yeah.
Kicker's been killing us for years. I mean, look how
What do
long
you?
they hung on to Mason Crosby. He missed 5 field goals in one game, and we kept him for like 7 more seasons.
Yeah, the leading scorer in Packer history, though, man. He came up clutch for us some of those years. So, um, what are your thoughts on the outside criticism of Jordan Love?
I think it's retarded.
Yeah,
The guy's great. If his numbers are statistically better, he's like top 3 statistically. Touchdown
yeah,
interception ratio. What's the heat on him for? Because his
Yeah,
receivers lead the league in drops every year. That ain't on the quarterback.
yeah, right.
You give him a loaded receiving core like Caleb Williams or Jared Goff or McCarthy has in Minnesota, and see what happens.
Yeah, I don't get it. You know,
He doesn't
Jordan
have a
Love.
Justin Jefferson, a Jamar Chase, or he doesn't have anybody like that. He's got, I mean, Christian Watson's good, but he's not Jamar Chase good. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah, I agree. I think like I said, any quarterback can be decent if they have the protection to stay upright. But if you're constantly running for your life, not like constantly like Jordan Love wasn't, but on crucial, it seemed like on crucial plays he was getting pretty rushed by the defense, and he had to make a quick decision. But I think you keep him upright, and he's going to show his true colors. You know what I mean? He's gonna thrive, I think, in Green Bay. But it's just you got to get the offensive line to like keep him up. He's
Yeah.
always
Well, I think
panicking.
Zach Tom makes a big difference on that offensive line. Now,
Yeah,
where do you play him next year, though? Because they said they consider him a all-pro tackle, but a Hall of Fame center. So
yeah,
where do you put him?
yeah. Right. One final question for you: what direction do you believe the Packers will go in the draft?
I was honestly hoping they would have traded Matt LaFleur and got another first-round pick, but I think they take. I think it's got to be cornerback with that second-round pick.
Yeah.
Corner, defensive tackle, but we'll see what happens in that first wave of free agency because that'll kind of set the tone for the draft.
Do you think? Do you think any like decent corners that come via free agency or that are going to be free agents look at Green Bay and be like, "Hey, they got Micah Parsons.
Well,
Micah Parsons might
definitely
make me
Diggs.
look good." You know what I mean?
I would like Diggs and Asante Samuel Jr.
Yeah, I mean that would be awesome, but you got to think about it that way too. Is like if you have cornerback, you're like, oh, if the quicker they get to the ball, the quicker the ball is in the air, the quicker I can do my job and maybe get that payday.
Yeah, well,
But
Diggs was a ball hawk when he's healthy. So I mean, if
yeah,
they play a lot of zone, he's a zone corner. You
yeah,
can't you can't focus on his own defense if you got man to man corners.
yeah.
You know what
I
I
think him
mean?
and Parsons are really good friends. They got the same agent. So I think,
Okay. Same agent as Jordan Love.
yeah, I do think Diggs comes back to the Packers, but maybe not. I don't know.
I would like to see him. Speaking of having the same agent as Parsons and Love, Christian Wilkins, the defensive tackle that was in Miami and signed with the Raiders, who was coming back off a foot injury. I'd like to
Yeah,
see him in Green Bay next to Devontae Wyatt next year because he's gonna
yeah,
have to be. It's gonna have to be like a prove it type deal because he's coming off an injury, so he ain't gonna be expensive.
yeah. It'll be it sucks that the Packers are out of the playoffs, obviously, but I it sucks we lost right away to the Bears, but seeing like how we kind of limped. I mean, we lost the last four games. Seeing how we limped along the last part of the season, I'd rather not, I guess, necessarily be put out of my misery, but like to start the process knowing that we didn't have the full product out there and knowing that the chances of bringing home a Lombardi with the injuries that we had are almost impossible. I'd rather it happen sooner than later. Maybe I sound bad saying that, but you know what I mean?
Yeah,
I'd rather have my heartbreak sooner than have it get prolonged and then have it break, further on down the road. But
we should be immune to this after 25 years of it.
yeah, I I always joke every once in a while, being like, "Yeah, thank God I don't drink anymore." you know? But yeah, no, I think the Packers they're gonna rebound from this year. I think this Bears Packers thing is gonna fire them up for more than just playing the Bears. It's gonna fire them up. I think like bulletin board material for the whole year. You know what I
Well,
mean?
if you look at 96, 97, we went to the Super Bowl, won one, lost one. They're fighting tooth and neck for the division that
Yeah,
year with Detroit. 2010, we're fighting the Bears. We got in as a wild card and won the Super Bowl. Now, if we got to fight two or three teams in the division to even make the playoffs, that makes Green Bay that much better. The problem is the division in the NFC North has been so crappy for 15 straight years up until recently that Green Bay
yeah,
had to barely do anything to even get in the playoffs.
Right.
So,
Yeah, it's about time too. The Bears do something with all the top draft picks they're getting from their shitty years. But hey, man, I want to thank you for being on. Thanks for taking the time out of your afternoon and
no
joining
problem. I
me
enjoyed
with
it.
talking Packers. Where can people find you? Are you just on Twitter
I'm
or
just
X?
on it. Yeah, I don't
Yeah,
really mess with any of that other stuff because
yeah.
I don't. Yeah, I get too much political crap on X. I'd really go crazy if I was on the other ones.
But yeah, I'll maybe I'll reach back. I'll probably reach back out to you this off season, maybe around training camp, maybe a little bit after the draft, and get your thoughts on the Packers and all that stuff, to see what your thoughts are on their draft picks, and yeah,
Can't
get your opinion.
can't
Who
wait,
eh,
man.
who are you rooting for in the title games?
Rams and Patriots.
I want to see Devontae get a ring.
So do I. I'm wearing
Yeah.
his jersey right now, actually.
Yep. All right, man. Well, again, I thank you and enjoy the rest of your night, man.
You too. Have a good one.
Yeah, you too. Thanks.
Yep. Bye.
Bye.